Our next performer is Rhiannon Argo, who's come on like 3 Sister Spit tours, most notably the one time that we went to Europe. We may never go to Europe again. We learned our lesson. I will never go back if it's like that. And I don't know how to make it not be like that, so far we haven't gone back. But it was kind of like, it's true what Tamara said, like on the 2007 tour, I was constantly like, you bitches don't know how good you have it. You'd be sleeping in a bathtub right now. You're actually getting paid. We're going to buy you a sandwich right now, you know. And just like making them just like, we walked through snow, barefoot in the 90s. But it was really interesting to go on the European tour because it was like suddenly it was the 90s again. Only we were in Europe and we couldn't really talk to a lot of the people. So it was really weird. I do like to say, even though I'm not 100% sure that it's true, that Rhiannon Argo got scurvy as a result of such endless touring with Sister Spit. She got some sort of vitamin deficiency. So she's very healthy now, and she's the author of a fantastic book called The Creamsicle. Please welcome Rhiannon Argo.
I'm so glad you guys are all here. I am reading about this crazy woman named Sabine, who was our tour driver in Europe. And I'm kind of have to start a little bit, she's already left us on the side of the road, basically, in Paris. And we have to get to our show at Shakespeare and Company. And we don't know where we are, and she's just leaving us there. So this is kind of like what happened before that. The Sister Spit Eurotrash tour arrived in Ljubljana on a bright orange EasyJet, which Michelle nicknamed the Greyhound of air travel. When we arrived at the airport, we were immediately amped to be in a sunshiny country. We had just spent the first week of our tour traveling through the damply cold UK. Standing in the sunshine of the airport parking lot, we wondered if Sabine was going to show up to get us. No one had ever actually met her. Em had found her on MySpace when she posted a bulletin looking for a European tour driver. Sabine had applied for the job, claiming experience as a driver, and then insisted in planning our tour route. We were a bit wary of what she would be like. In the van back in the UK, we passed around a smartphone with her MySpace picture pulled up. Sabine glared menacingly out from the screen with her hefty middle finger thrust up at the camera. Her MySpace page headline read, "Fuck off and die." We were relieved when Sabine showed up at the airport. She muttered a few gruff words as she threw our bags in the back of our new tour van. She was with her boyfriend, and they both looked like 2 Second Life avatars with twin fashion, both tall, Amazon size, with chiseled bone structure, various piercings, very long, thick black dreads, and head-to-toe tight black clothing. They spoke non-stop in Slovenian the entire time, only to each other, and chain-smoked cigarettes, while we all tried to figure out if the windows in the back of the van even rolled down. They didn't, so we better get used to traveling in a second-hand smoke box. So then I described the place we stayed, so I'm going to skip that. After our show in Ljubljana, we drove to Vienna, where we stayed in an anarchist squat house, housed in a huge cold concrete story building. Sabine seemed happy to be at the squat because she got to reunite with her people, clothed in all black clothing, held together with black patches and piles of dreads on every head. While eating a yummy vegan dinner in the dining hall, we tried to play a game of Find Somebody Without Dreads. And we were hard-pressed to find a dreadless head in the room. Even a few kids with short-cropped or shaved heads would eventually turn their heads to reveal one long dread from the back of their head in a tube shape. The Vienna squat was dark and cold with weird, unwelcoming energy. Kat and I found a greenhouse roof tight porch, and we sat on some plastic furniture that perhaps was some squatter's bed. The sun set over the gray buildings between the bars on the frosted windows. Maybe this place was a prison, we speculated. We decided to make out to pass the time, laughing whenever a heavy-booted anarchist stomped by us on the nearby stairs. That night we performed in the squat's smoky basement, and later left the moshing dance party to go upstairs for lesbian activities, like drinking tea and coffee while Michelle read our tarot. Sabine was off drinking, or else perhaps Michelle would have read her tarot and found out how dark-sided she really was right then. On to Berlin, where the tour schedule called for us only sleeping for 4 hours after our show and then heading to a port town in the middle of the night to catch a ferry to Sweden. Leaving our show, we noticed Sabine was drinking while driving us around in our van. Apparently, she had called home and found out that her boyfriend had cheated on her already, and she was really upset. She informed us that she needed to drink that beer right that second because she was bipolar and very angry. Amos Mack and I didn't go to Sweden. We took a break from the tour, but I will fill you in on what happened there because that's where Sabine's true alcoholic personality was revealed and she turned on everyone. In Sweden, Sabine was supposed to sleep all day to prepare for the night drive back to the ferry home. Instead, she got drunk, and then she went to a protest, and then she curled up and passed out in a bookstore window to catch an hour of sleep before the all-night drive. Tired and unprepared, she drove the van in the wrong direction into the dark, scary Swedish woods for 4 hours, where the tour was completely lost and everyone was completely convinced they might die. Christy sang Green Day at the top of her lungs to keep Sabine awake. The tour finally made it to the shore, but they had missed their ferry and thankfully were able to catch another one later. Everyone was sleepless and angry, and Sabine became hostile. Some things about her became clear. For instance, perhaps she had never actually driven a tour before. She had no idea what she was doing when she prepared her tour route, and perhaps she had only driven her boyfriend's band's tour once or twice to a few shows. Amos and I met back with the rest of our tour mates in Hamburg, Germany. We waited at the steps of the artist commune, and when our tour mates walked up from the street, we could tell that something was very wrong. Everyone looked ragged, like they had survived a terrible ordeal. Hair ratted, dark circles under their eyes, and blank, exhausted looks on their faces. We were filled in that Sabine hated all of them, and the plan was to get away from her ASAP. Michelle and Em were on the internet, frantically pricing tickets from Germany to Paris while we waited for our show to start. We were willing to take the tour by train the rest of the way just to get rid of her. The ironic thing was that Sabine was the only one on the tour making any money. After our show, Sabine informed us that she didn't want to drive us from the venue to the house where we were supposed to sleep. She wanted to go to a bar and get drunk. Surprise, surprise. There was a language barrier between us and our host. Sabine was taking advantage of it by complaining about us in German. We could tell what she was doing as her hands gestured wildly over at us, and she seemed to be earning their sympathy. She left us, and we made do, laid on our sleeping bags on the empty room on the stone floor of an art commune. In Cologne, Sabine got drunk and tried to bond with us again at the karaoke bar. She even flashed us her boobs, which made us all feel really awkward. She was nice to us when she was wasted, but in the morning we had a long drive to Paris, and it was apparent that she was hungover and angrier than ever. It took us forever to get to Paris. She was blasting Slovenian black metal and would not turn it down when we pleaded. She would pull over on the side of the road at random rest stops, kick her feet up leisurely in the air, and chain smoke. She wasn't feeling good, she admitted. When we finally got to Paris, she drove in circles around the city, and when Michelle asked her if she was lost in an attempt to help, Sabine screamed at us, "I'm not lost, I just don't know where the fuck we are." What? We were very confused by that sentence. Sabine then shouted, "You people are talking to me all at once. I'm so sick of you people." You are sick of us? We couldn't believe it. We were the ones sick of her. And with that, all of our pent-up feelings came forth. Christy yelled at her for saying racist things. Everyone yelled at once. Sabine pulled the van over and it screeched to a halt. We all wanted out of the van and she wanted her money. She scowled at us, standing on the side of the road, making a large pile out of our bags, as Michelle and Em rushed to the ATM to get her cash she demanded. After that, she wanted even more money, so there was more arguing, until finally she muttered some curses at us and drove away. So here we are, not lost, but perhaps not knowing where the fuck we are. We find our way to the Paris metro, where we navigate the rush hour crowds, our arms teeming with backpacks, sleeping bags, and even an air mattress accidentally stolen from a Swedish host. Christy sees a hot butch with blonde shaved hair and a cute smile, standing on the platform, and Whisper yells to me, "She looks like a girl version of Billy Joel. I want to make out with her." And we are in the city of love, so this seems entirely possible. So I just have to end that with, she did make out with this girl that we randomly saw on the Paris platform train station in the middle of nowhere, and then she ended up at a party that Christy went to the next day, so she did end up making out with Billy Joel.